I really have nothing to say at all, so we can just start the video right now. But there's one thing I do want to say. This is for Halloween, and this video is not for children that are under age of 13. Just to be safe, so I don't give any little kids nightmares. Just in case. Also, this is just for Halloween, not to scare anyone or not to be like weird or anything. But yeah, let's just get on with the video. I'm out of ideas. Please help me. I hate Roblox kids that flex. They are literally the definition of cringe. Hoodoo Hoodlum presents. I'm very hyped. Top 30 scariest creepypastas. So creepypastas were a thing back in 2014, and this video was made in 2014.
Halloween, one of my favorite nights of the year. Tonight's the night to
Alright.
come together with friends and family to celebrate one of humanity's most primal feelings, fear. But what is it we fear? Do we fear suffering, aging, the end of our trivial existence? Questions like these have circulated around the world since the beginning of mankind, and on Halloween night we gather around to celebrate that. But why? Is
I
it
don't
because
celebrate
we
it,
like being
sorry.
scared? That is why I've decided to resort to the world of creepypastas in order to celebrate fear in its purest form. I've collected some of the most frightening pastas ever told, in my opinion, and I cannot wait to begin. Just remember that we all have different opinions, so let's stay sensible in the comments. Thank you. Also, be sure to stay till the end to hear some honorable mentions and other things. With that said, it's time to journey deep down into the darkest corners of the internet, because tonight we're counting down the top 31 scariest creepypastas.
Squidward suicide.
That's right, 31.
No.
Sit back and enjoy.
Well, spooky times, eh? Top 30 scariest creepypasta. Oh, 31? Oh. Then why does it say top 30 in the title? I think he messed up. Or I think it's a bonus. I don't know. Oh, this music though. 31. Let's go. Let's see how this has got to go.
Tiki Toby.
Ooh, Tiki Toby. That's my
If I
favorite
had
one.
to choose between Jeff the Killer, Laughing and Eyeless Jack, or
Ooh.
Tiki Toby, Toby would definitely be my favorite. Tiki Toby tells us of a young, troubled teen boy by the name of Toby who suffers from Tourette's syndrome and is frequently bullied because of it.
Oh.
When his sister dies in a tragic accident, he is left alone with his mother and abusive father. After being visited by a tall, slender man, Toby feels himself changing. He finally decides to do something about his suffering and brutally murders his father by stabbing him repeatedly.
Jeez.
Even though his father was a bad man, he's still Toby's father, and his death felt very disturbing. And so, after Toby's mom sees what Toby has done, he escapes the scene and tries to avert the police by starting a fire. He then meets the tall man once more and is taken away by him.
Oh gosh. Spoopy. Okay. Not that scary. Right now.
White with red.
What?
A man once checked in at a mysterious hotel. The lady in the reception told him that one certain room in the hotel was different from all the others by the fact that it did not have a number on it. She repeatedly pleaded to the man not to open the door if he were to find it. The man nodded and went to get some sleep. The next day, the man found the door with no number on it. Piqued with curiosity, he decided to take a look through the keyhole.
Okay.
Inside stood a woman with white clothes facing away from the man,
No.
standing
Look away.
perfectly still. When she began turning around, the man left as he didn't want to disturb her.
Yeah, you
The
would
next
not.
day,
You just
he
run away.
peeked through the keyhole once more
Why?
and saw nothing with the bright color of red.
Oh.
When asking the woman in the reception about it, she told him that many years ago, a man had murdered his wife in that very room, and it was said that she still haunts it.
Oh,
She is recognized by
Poor
looking
lady.
just like a normal person, except for her blood red eyes.
Oh, God, no. So the girl was looking at him through the keyhole? 29.
God's mouth.
Oh my God, I know this story.
A man and a woman explored a
Huh?
cave named God's
Guest
Mouth.
commentator is super. Oh,
Ignoring
okay.
the various
his
warnings
voice caught me
before
off guard.
entering, they soon became separated. However, the man continued delving further into the cave. After some time had passed, he met a rock wall. After looking around, he realized that he was trapped, with no way out. He sat down against the wall, cried, and accepted his oncoming mortality. Before his flashlight died, a red hand could be faintly seen reaching out for him
Oh, yep.
as God's mouth
And he's dead?
devoured yet another victim.
Yeah, that's why I never want to go to caves, because you would get trapped. You would. Never go to caves, kids.
The Grifter.
Oh my gosh.
There apparently existed a video first mentioned on 4chan known as
I think I should
The
censor
Grifter.
this, because I don't think it's
Viewing the
good
video
for
is said to
anyone
be a
watching
soul-rending
this.
experience. The few who watched the video reportedly felt sick, nauseous, and terrified.
Oh.
And everyone had later been killed in their homes, with one thing in common. A strange doll would always be found nearby.
Yeah, I'm censoring this, because I can't...
The end of the
Because
video shows
I feel
a
like
message,
people would...
and if translated
I feel like
from
people would-
Esperanto, it reads,
I feel like people would not like this,
This
or want to watch
child,
this.
now a young man, is still alive and lives in a local shelter whose name was not given. He never spoke and still is catatonic.
Sick?
Mr. Mix.
Oh my...
Mr. Mix
God.
was an old, obscure typing PC game.
Mr.
The
Mix,
game
I
itself was
heard about him.
described as being very strange.
Oh God, that
Weird
face!
patterns of growls
It's
playing
creepy.
during the first level
It's so
instead of
creepy.
music, and low-quality clips of a hairdryer playing during the third
Oh,
level.
my ears.
The fifth level, which was impossible to beat, had high-pitched sounds which caused damage to the ears.
Oh my God!
A few years ago, a team of hackers were able to beat the fifth level, and after
Oh,
beating
no.
it, the game would behave very strangely, writing numerous files on the user's computer. These files were numerous images of horribly deformed faces, screaming in pain, as chunks of their flesh had been ripped off in
Oh.
gruesome ways. If one attempted to delete these hair, this caused most of the hackers to quit the expedition. After further hacking, the remaining hackers were able to bypass the fifth level. What they saw on that level, they refused to discuss. All became extremely paranoid. One of the hackers were found in a grocery store. He was wearing a white chef's hat and had a look of unspeakable madness on him. When interrogated, he would simply say one thing.
What?
I'm Mr. Mix.
I saw something. I saw something, I swear. There was something on the screen. I'm not crazy. I saw something.
Normal porn
I really...
for normal people.
What?
This story starts with the author receiving an unusual email. The email read, "Hi there, found this site is very nice, thought you might like. normalpornfornormalpeople.com. Pass it on for the good of mankind." The author became curious and went on the site. The site itself looked very average and generic, as if the creators had barely cared about making it look professional. The tagline for the website read, "normalpornfornormalpeople.com. a website dedicated to the eradication of abnormal sexuality. The rest of the site was a long and coherent rant. The author was about to quit until he realized that each word in the rant was a link that took you to different videos. The videos in question were uncomfortably creepy, strange, and almost never sexual in any normal way. Some examples included lickedclean.avi, a video of a repairman fixing a washing machine and then leaving.
What?
Afterwards, the owner of the washing machine began licking all over it. Tonguetied.avi showed an elderly woman making out with a mannequin, and halfway through the video, it cut out and then showed a bunch of mannequins huddled together in a circle around the camera. Stumps.avi showed a man with no legs attempting to dance and collapsing due to exhaustion. An off-screen person yells at him to continue, which he does. Before the video ends, this person can be heard screaming in anger at the top of his lungs before the video ends abruptly.
It's creepy.
The final video that was ever released, Useless.avi, showed a woman from a previous video tied to a mattress. She tries to scream for help, but her mouth is taped over. After a short while, a door opens, and what appears to be a starved and abused shaven chimpanzee enters, with its whole body painted red.
What the fuck?
It sniffs the air for a moment, and then moves over to the woman and mauls her to death. It then proceeds to eat flesh off her body as the video ends. The site was deleted 3 days later.
Good. That's good.
The strangest security tape I have ever seen.
What?
This story details what happens after a new guy, Jeremy, starts working at the gas station the author of the story is working at. He behaved very strangely and had a very creepy laugh. After a while, things started going missing in the station, and after reviewing the security tapes from when Jeremy was working there, they come across something terrifying. Jeremy himself seems to be messing with everyone, and appears to be able to manipulate time for his own needs. The author soon gets stuck in one of Jeremy's time loops, and after many strange happenings, the author tries to call the police, who investigates where Jeremy apparently lives, but finds nothing but a burned down house. The author closes the story by stating, "A new guy has just started, called Jeremy." The loop had begun once more.
Oh my god. Now that is creepy.
Happy Appy.
What?
Happy Appy was an old show that was apparently broadcasted on Nick Jr. before being abruptly taken off the air very quickly, due to some episodes of the show taking dark turns. The show depicted a clay apple, Happy Appy, helping children with injuries. After a while, he developed a death stare by staring directly into the camera at the viewer.
And this story is
He also began violently killing children, all implied and happening off-screen. One episode even depicted 2 planes crashing into 2 large towers, implied to be the World Trade Centers. When rubble hit a child, and the others tried to help, Appy led them away from the scene, claiming,
"That's natural, children."
The strange part was, the episode aired years before 9/11.
What?
What seemed to be an innocent yet rather morbid children's show in the beginning soon turns into something much bigger and more terrifying as the author comes in contact with the show's director, Forensic. Something about this show was not right at all.
Yeah, this show is not good. Not good at all.
Barbie.avi. Barbie.avi begins with the author finding an old abandoned computer outside his apartment, and when bringing it in, he searches through the computer for old files, and found a video file named Barbie.avi. The video was nearly an hour long, and the audio quality was incredibly poor. The video seemed to be an interview with a young, attractive woman, But the more the interviewer asked questions, the more the woman seemed to get saddened. Her face turned red, and she began sobbing. This went on until she cried so hard she couldn't speak. She simply sunk her head down, and the video faded to black.
Oh,
After
no.
staying black for a while, the video came back, showing a pair of legs walking along a couple of train tracks.
What is up with
The
these?
author recognized the tracks and went there. He soon found an abandoned house. The only locked door in the whole house was to that of the basement, and the furniture inside the house seemed way too new to be there. When the author reached the second-story bathroom, the dust had been wiped off the mirror, and a wet plastic tarp could be found in the bathroom. The author then heard a loud moan behind him, and he jumped out of the window and escaped.
Oh,
He
no.
later theorized that it could have been the piping in the house sounding.
The imposter
But
there?
then again, why would water be running in a seemingly abandoned house?
That girl was there. Is she? If not, then that's creepy.
No End House. There apparently exists a house somewhere, and if you make it through the hotel's 9 rooms, you would be rewarded with a $500 cash prize.
That's...
The lobby of the place
That's
and the
not
first
real.
2 rooms would be ridiculously tame and laughable, but the further the visitors would venture into the house, the worse things would get, pushing both the physical and mental limitations of those brave enough to enter. Be warned, you might not make it out of there.
I might not make it out of there. I might not.
The SpongeBob bootleg episode.
Holy crap.
This frame is from the bootleg episode of the SpongeBob episode, Dumped.
Oh,
The episode
shit.
itself consisted of loud buzzing
SpongeBob's
noises,
creepy as hell.
flashing colours, and jumbled static. Not much else is known about the tape. The tape itself was found by 5 teenagers who found it in a trash can near an abandoned mental institution.
Oh,
Of these 5
God.
individuals, 2 have
SpongeBob
committed suicide.
dumped.
1 has gone missing. 1 refuses to comment on the tape. And the last agreed to let paranormal detectives investigate the tape. No one knows where the tape is now, and many who stare at this image for a long period of time claim to see SpongeBob blink.
He blinked. You see that? He blinked. Oh, that's creepy.
Where bad kids go. The camera zooming in at a big, locked door, and the closer the camera got to the door, screams of pain and agony could be heard. Text would then appear on screen.
Oh my
stating,
God,
That's where bad kids go.
Oh, stop.
When the
Stop,
author got
stop.
older, he did some research and found out where the show had been produced all those years ago. When opening the infamous door from the program, he froze. Blood, feces, and bones were everywhere.
Oh my
And a caged
God.
microphone was standing in the middle of the room. The screams had been real.
Oh my God, those poor children that were trapped.
The Holders.
Whoa.
Legend has it, if you go into any mental institution, shop, or such, and ask to see a holder, you will be led to a room where you will be put through a test to test your might. These tests are oftentimes incredibly hard to complete, but finishing them would result in you obtaining one of the 538 objects of the holders. Those seeking for these objects would oftentimes turn into different people, making them villainous or evil. People have often theorized that if one were to bring all 538 objects together, they would bring about the end of the world.
Oh,
They must
shoot.
never come together.
Oh my God. Once again, this is Creepypastas.
NES Godzilla. When the author of this story receives an unusual copy of Godzilla for, well, the NES, the game is much different than from how he remembers it from his childhood. New characters appeared everywhere, worlds were changed, the game would break the fourth wall, and the author would be haunted by a creature, simply known as Red.
Oh god,
As the story
no.
goes on, more and more is learned about
It's
Red
creepy as hell.
and why the game is behaving so strangely. The story itself starts off interesting, but slows down in the middle and isn't overly creepy, until you reach the final chapters, where everything falls into place and goes insane. I highly recommend this one.
Oh no. Things go insane in the game?
Dead Bart.
Oh shoot.
Dead Bart was the last episode of the first season of The Simpsons, apparently written entirely by Matt Groening. During production of this season, Matt seemed to act very strangely. Mentioning this to anyone present at the time would make them incredibly angry. The author of the story soon meets Matt at a fan event and confronts him about the episode. Matt, looking almost teary-eyed, agreed to give him a link to our website. The website contained nothing but a download link to the episode, and the author decided to watch it. Act 1 begun, and the characters behaved very much unlike their normal behavior. Homer, for example, was unusually angry. The family boarded a plane, and like usual, Bart was making a ruckus. But while in the air, one of the plane windows break, and Bart is sucked out. Act 1 ends with a shot of Bart's dead corpse, which was almost unrecognizable, almost photorealistic. Act 2
Jesus.
started with the family sitting at the table, sobbing uncontrollably. Bart was nowhere to be seen. The animation decayed until the family was nothing but brightly lit colors. Faces could be seen in the window, popping in and out now and then, briefly, but they appeared so fast that you could not make out what or who they were. Act 3 started, stating 1 year had passed. The family, apart from the pets and Maggie, appeared bone-thin, still sitting at the table. They got up and made their way to the local cemetery. Springfield looked entirely deserted and abandoned. When they finally got to Bart's grave, Bart was just lying there on the ground. Homer then said a joke, but due to distortion you cannot make out what he says. The episode ended with the camera zooming out, revealing numerous gravestones of every single Simpson guest star on them, even those after season 1. For those who have died since, such as Michael Jackson, the date of death was correct. But there was something unusual about the dates of guest stars who are still alive. All of their deaths are listed at the same date.
Oh my. That is creepy. Jeez, the Simpsons predicted everything, even this.
Squidward's suicide.
Oh my.
While working as an intern at Nickelodeon, the author usually got to watch and reflect on episodes of SpongeBob before they aired on television.
No,
It
I
wasn't
don't like
paid,
Squidward's
but to
suicide.
him, it was like a dream.
I didn't know
coming
Squidward was a
true.
creepypasta.
One day, he and the rest of the interns gathered to watch the season opener of season 4. The editors of SpongeBob usually added in funny fake title cards as a joke for the interns. So when the
Squidward's
interns saw the
suicide.
title Squidward's Suicide, they didn't think twice about it. The episode itself, though, was anything but funny. After
Probably
being
not
booed
funny
off
at all.
stage, Squidward could be seen in his bedroom quietly sobbing to himself while covering his face. The screen violently twitched and showed numerous frames in different areas. When looking back at these frames, the interns and the editors' jaws dropped. On screen were images of numerous children with their stomachs cut open and their entrails pulled out.
Oh!
The episode then ends with Squidward crying tears of blood as he grabs a shotgun and kills himself. The editors and interns were equally confused and horrified, and local authority was called in. The children in the episode were never identified, and no one has ever been caught. To this day, the author is still haunted by that one fateful day.
Oh god, no.
The Showers.
I kinda don't wanna watch this anymore.
We all have that teacher who is cooler than the others. Mr. Mays, from this story, was just like that. On
Another guest
Halloween night,
commentator?
many years ago, he decided to share his most frightening memory from his youth. He and a couple friends were in Broken Bow, Nebraska, and came across a seemingly abandoned cellar near a barn. When opening the cellar door, they were met with a long, uneven tunnel with several light bulbs. After traversing the tunnel, the young men were confronted with a newly painted red door. When opening it, they saw what appeared to be children, with long, dark hair and pale skin. They got out of there as soon as possible. Years later, the author went to Broken Bow and decided to seek out this mysterious place. He and his friend Stephen soon found themselves in an area very similar to the one Mr. Mays had described years ago. And soon enough, they are both put through something terrifying as they find more than what they asked for.
What was it? Well, I'm kind of glad they didn't put it there, because it probably was something creepier.
Marina Mordegard Glesgorv.
The fuck?
Marina Mordegard Glesgorv
Oh.
was a video that was posted on YouTube. Only 153 people, including one YouTube staff member, saw the video
Jeez.
before it was taken down.
Got taken
The
down?
video
Okay, good.
consisted of a man staring directly at you for 18 seconds and then grinning for the last 2 seconds. This is actually not the full video. Those who saw it reportedly gouged out their eyes, cut themselves, and committed suicide in various ways.
Oh!
The YouTube staff member who watched the video began screaming after 45 seconds and is now under constant sedation, unable to recall what he saw. YouTube will periodically upload the first 20 seconds to close off any suspicions. They do not want you to find the entire video.
It's probably fake.
Obey the Walrus.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. Creepy video.
The Lavender Town Myths. Rumor has it that the original versions of Pokemon Red and Green in Japan had several frequencies and binaural beats that apparently caused young children to feel sick, receive headaches, and in extreme cases, commit suicide.
Oh, what?
Coupled together with supposedly removed beta content, such as the White Hand, a supposed enemy that was to appear in the Pokemon Tower, the Buried Alive model, the original boss of Pokemon Tower who, if the player lost to, would devour the player character along with a very creepy song playing in the background. And the ghost animation, an unsettling piece of animation that was supposed to appear numerous times during the player's visit at the tower, adding to the suspense of the already depressing tone of Lavender Town. Along with these, rumor also has it that if you were to add certain frequencies in the original Lavender Town song, the unknown were to spell out, "Leave now," despite that they were yet to be introduced until Generation 2, followed by an incredibly sickening sound. Turn your speakers down right now. To indicate that the original beta versions of Pokemon Red and Green had something far bigger and more disturbing planned than what we actually got. And maybe that's for the better.
I guess it's for the better. It's kind of creepy still. Still kind of creepy. A little bit. Not too much.
Username 666.
Oh.
There is a rumor going around that if one were to go to youtube.com/666 and refresh the page numerous times, this is what supposedly happens. After refreshing the page for a while, the page would gradually transform into a hellish red,
Oh my
decaying
god.
YouTube channel.
Oh.
If one were to click on one of the videos, you would never be able to escape.
Oh, what the f... Gee. Probably have to skip this part. Behind you? What? The fuck do you mean behind me?
Slenderman.
Ugh.
Slenderman. What creepypasta list would not be complete without him? Slenderman is a mythological being who is shrouded in mystery, described as looking like a tall, thin, and faceless man with a black suit as dark as the night and a tie as red as blood. He has apparently been sighted numerous times throughout history, possibly hinting at him being able to travel in time. He is usually seen around children right before they disappear, and apparently has long, inhuman tentacles stretching from his back. Remember the tall man Tiki Toby met?
Oh, right, yeah.
That's Slenderman. Not much is known about this strange creature, but one thing is for sure. If you see him, you're not living for long. Misfortune.gb.
What the hell?
Misfortune.gb was a supposedly secret game that came embedded in certain cartridges of popular Game Boy games, such as Pokemon Red, among others. Those who played the game widely consider it to be one of the scariest video games of all time. The game would have you control a young boy through a mysterious building, who would occasionally be visited by an evil creature, theorized to be the devil himself. The game would contain numerous puzzles, such as the most known one, the cabin puzzle. The player would be presented with 4 different cabins to go in, and a text box would appear stating, "Choose wrong, and misfortune will befall your loved ones. Are you ready to play?" If one were to choose the wrong path, a game over screen would appear, along with a more detailed version of the being stating, "I am God here." The players who supposedly witnessed the game over screen would then suffer from extreme depression. Some wrote the whole thing off as a joke, yet some truly believe that witnessing the game over screen could actually cause misfortune to the player, just as the game had promised.
Jeez. Creepy.
Smile Dog.
Oh god. No.
A journalist
No.
was invited to the house of an
I
old
hate
woman
this one.
who apparently had an interesting story to tell him. When the man got there, though, the woman had locked herself in her room, spouting insane nonsense and refusing to talk to anyone. When she eventually decided to speak, she gave the journalist a floppy disk containing nothing but an image file named smile.jpg. The image file in question is a supposed picture of a demonic husky dog with a human-like smile. Legend has it that if you receive Smile Dog as an email, it is important that you spread the word by sharing it to someone else in order for the curse to end. If you do not do this, the picture will grow gradually worse and worse.
Creepy.
And Smile Dog will appear in your dreams, demanding you to spread the word, ultimately driving you to insanity. Some say the original chain letter started with an image of the devil.
Jeez.
Candle Cove.
Yeah, this is not good.
What if a show you watched as a child turned out to be something far bigger than what you previously expected? That is the case with Candle Cove. The story begins with a few forum users discussing old nostalgic television shows, and one show in particular sparks some interest, namely Candle Cove. At first, the forum users innocently discussed the show, its characters, its low-budget charm, and its controversial main villain, the Skin Taker, who was a skeleton who skinned children alive in order to make a cape. But the more the users remember about the show, the darker cracks start to show. The last episode of the series, for example, consisted of nothing but random shots of different characters, along with horrific screaming taking up all audio, while the main character, Janice, could be seen crying, as if she had been through hours of it. The story ends with a forum user asking his mother about the show, and his mother replying with how she remembered his little pirate show, and how he used to sit in front of the television for about half an hour, watching nothing but static.
Creepy.
The Rake.
Oh.
Much like Slenderman, the Rake is a mythological creature recorded throughout history that stalks its prey. But while Slenderman mostly targeted children, the Rake has no boundaries. Described as a humanoid or dog-like creature with long sharp claws and an unnatural body position, it stalks, taunts, and scares its victims to insanity and death. If the Rake chooses you as its next victim, it will not stop until you're dead. It's able to stalk you, observe you, and sneak into your bedroom while you're asleep incredibly easy. If one spots it, no one is safe.
Okay, finally, we're finally finishing up. This
Gateway of the
this
Mind.
kind of creeping me
A
out
team of
a little bit.
scientists once conducted a radical experiment in an undisclosed facility. The scientists had theorized that a person without
Yeah, this
access
video's
to
gonna be
any
X-rated,
senses
so
or
no
ways to
kids can
perceive
watch.
stimuli would be able to perceive the presence of God. An elderly man was the only person to volunteer, who claimed to have nothing left to live for. The scientists performed a complex operation on the man, removing all of his senses. He could not see, hear, taste, smell, or feel.
Oh.
After a few days, the man claimed he was hearing mumbled voices in his head, and 2 days later, the man cried that he could hear his dead wife speaking to him, and even stranger, he could communicate back. The scientists weren't fully convinced, until the man began naming dead relatives of the scientists themselves. The man grew more and more distressed, for at every waking moment, he could hear the deceased speaking to him, refusing to leave him alone. He began clawing at where his eyes should be, and biting off chunks of his own flesh to feel something. The scientists rushed in and restrained the man to a table, so he could not kill himself. He soon stopped struggling, and instead started crying non-stop for 2 whole weeks. Then, out of nowhere, the man, despite his apparent blindness, focused his eyes on one of the scientists and spoke his final words.
I have spoken with God, and He has abandoned us.
Oh.
His vitals then stopped,
That's untrue. He did
and
not
he
abandon
dropped
us.
dead. There was no apparent cause of death. Mario. Mario was a strange Super Mario World ROM hack that was found in the SMW Central.
Oh, right.
The hack itself contained 2 files, one ROM file and one TXT file. The TXT file contained nothing but random nonsense, except for one repeated phrase at the top of the page. Find me. The hack itself was also very peculiar, as all enemies appeared to be missing, and all levels had very strange ways of beating them. The most unsettling parts of the hack, though, were the numerous text boxes that appeared throughout the game. Most importantly, during one of the game's cinematics, detailing an apparent murder scene in unsettling detail.
Eyeballs were unable to be found. The victim was found lying under the carpet. Cause of death unknown him.
The hack ends with Mario traversing
my
a long,
God.
dark corridor and eventually sinking into the floor as if he was going down a pipe. The author of the story theorized as to what the hack actually meant, and he came to the conclusion that Mario was in a hell of his own, atoning for his actions throughout his life, where he was lost to the grip of death forever.
Okay.
After the story was posted to the SMW Central, someone got the brilliant idea to convert the strange TXT file into an image file to see what would happen. The image he was presented with has since then been widely considered to be victim number 1.
Oh my God! Yup. That's the image That's the image. Okay. Oh God.
Suicide Mouse.avi.
Shit.
Suicide Mouse was an apparent cartoon created by Walt Disney himself in the 1930s.
It's not really that scary,
The
but
video itself was nothing but a
skip
looping
if you don't
animation
wanna
of
look at
Mickey
it.
walking down a road, looking rather bored. The music sounded unsettling and creepy, as if someone was simply banging on random piano notes. The video would then cut to black, and people for a while believed that that was the end of the video. Until a few years ago. When reviewing the cartoon for DVD, it was revealed to in fact be 9 minutes and 4 seconds long. On the 6th minute, Mickey came back on screen, walking. And this is what happened.
Look, if you're getting scared easily, just click off the video and just find something good that will make you happy again. Is he really gonna show me the video? The dude who made this video I'm reacting to? Is he really gonna make me watch it?
In the end, a close-up of Mickey's face is shown, possibly to signify the end of the episode. The Russian sleep experiment. In the 1940s, Russian researchers brought in 5 test subjects to test an experimental gas. The subjects themselves were political prisoners deemed enemies of the state during World War II.
Oh God.
Bringing them in, they were all kept in a sealed environment to carefully monitor their oxygen intake. After 5 days, the subjects began demonstrating extreme paranoia. They began alternately whispering into the microphones inside the cell and tried to turn over their comrades. After 9 days, one of the subjects began screaming at the top of his lungs for 3 hours straight before stopping abruptly, as he had apparently ripped out his own vocal cords. The other subjects did not react to this at all, and a few days later, the whispering abruptly stopped as well. The researchers announced that they were opening the chamber doors over the intercom, but to their surprise, a calm voice responded with,
"We no longer want to be freed."
The room was filled with fresh air, and the subjects immediately begged for more gas. The chamber was opened, and soldiers were sent in to retrieve them. What they saw was beyond their wildest imagination. 4 of the 5 subjects were still alive, and chunks of meat had been stuffed into the
Oh
grate
god,
in the center of the chamber,
disgusting!
blocking the drain and allowing water to
He
accumulate
actually
on the
showed it?
floor.
What is wrong with him?
The remaining 4 subjects had removed large portions of their skin and flesh, exposing their lungs and showing that they were in fact digesting their own flesh. The subjects put up a fierce fight, and one of the subjects even died fighting, screaming for more and more.
And more gas.
The remaining 3 subjects were restrained and moved to a medical facility.
Okay, yeah, I can't show
and
that.
when asked to
I can't
receive
show any of
morphine
that. You
to care for
all
the
just
subject's
saw.
wounds, the subject simply shook its head and told the doctors to keep cutting. Soon, the subjects were ordered to be put back inside the chamber along with 3 security guards, but one of the guards immediately drew his gun and shot the commander and one of the remaining subjects as the others fled the scene. He pointed his gun at the last remaining subject and said, "I won't be locked in there with those things. Not with you. What are you?" he demanded. "I must know." The subject smiled.
Have you forgotten so easily? We are you. We are the madness that lurks within you all, begging to be free at every moment in your deepest animal mind. We are what you hide from your beds every night. We are what you sedate into silence and paralyze us when you go to the nocturnal haven, where we cannot tread.
The guard then shot him, and just before he died, he weakly choked out.
Okay. Thank God half of this video is almost done. Okay. Is that it? Oh, shit.
Now, before I reveal my number 1 pick, remember that it is simply my opinion and my opinion alone. So if you disagree with me, that's perfectly fine. We all think and react in different ways. It's what makes us unique. And fans of my channel probably already know what I've picked. So with that in mind, I present to you my number 1 pick. The Harbinger
This is the
Experiment.
creepy one. Be warned. Be warned, audience.
In 1971, a scientist nicknamed Zimmerman by the author, who showed keen interest in the occult and supernatural, invites the protagonist to work for him on an experiment like no other. When the author saw the payout, he knew he couldn't resist. 15 people were hired in total. Some were old colleagues of Zimmerman, some were maintenance workers, and some were hired as private security. Deep in the frozen wilderness of Alaska, in a deep underground system, the experiment began to take form. The area the experiment was conducted in was very confusing, almost maze-like, and the whole place felt very cold and isolated, almost creepy. The only exit to the area was through a thick metal lid up a very long ladder. The purpose of the experiment, according to Zimmerman, was to prove the existence of the metaphysical, a world we could not see. 3 test subjects were brought in, 2 men and 1 woman. None of them had any friends and family left, so in short, no one would miss them.
Oh, that's sad.
On October 15th, 1987, 17 years after the experiment's original announcement, all preparations were in place. All 3 test subjects were sealed in 3 separate cells, with cameras monitoring them. Zimmerman then began chanting something in an otherworldly language, and after a short while, an immense feeling of dread fell upon the entire structure. Zimmerman was not affected by this in the slightest, and as the air began to become very heavy, all 3 cameras turned to static. The next day, when the protagonist entered the main office, he froze. One of the cameras were functioning. The woman was lying in her cell, stone dead. Soon enough, Monitor 3's image returned. On screen was something horrifying. A humanoid with black, large, soul-piercing eyes, and unnaturally long arms and legs, and incredibly sharp claws. It did nothing but stand perfectly still and
that's
stare into the
creepy.
camera.
Thank God he didn't show
Zimmerman
it.
ordered the door to the first cell, the only one showing static, to be opened. Armed with only batons and pistols, the security team braced themselves, and when the door opened, another horrifying creature emerged, and managed to kill one of the 4 guards, before dying after being shot with over a dozen magazines.
God.
Hours went by, and the creature in cell 3 kept staring into the camera. All of a sudden, a sound could be heard, becoming increasingly louder and louder by the second, until it was almost unbearable. It was Living in the Sunlight by Tiny Tim.
Oh no,
Then
copyright.
the power went out, and when it came back on, the cell was empty. The creature then appeared in the office and stopped for a moment. It glanced over at Zimmerman, the man who had brought it into existence, and then ran up to him and ripped him in half. It went berserk and murdered countless staff. The protagonist ran towards the ladder. He knew what he had to do. And so, he closed the thick metal lid and locked it, dooming his fellow co-workers, but saving the world from that unspeakable horror.
So the others were trapped
so
in that room,
he thought.
but the
He
last
closes
dude
off the story
escaped.
by telling us of why he decided to share the story, as he's basically the only one left with the knowledge of the entire experiment. He could hear Living in the Sunlight right outside his house. It.
Oh no, he's dead.
And with that, my picks for the top 31 creepypastas is finished. I hope you enjoyed my little, or well, big list that I made. Before I tell you my honorable mentions,
Good.
I would just like to thank everyone for 30,000 subscribers.
Sorry, but
Without you,
I'm not
none
showing
of
the
this
honorable
would be
mentions.
possible.
I gotta go.
I love you.
I'm sorry, this is way too much for me.
Thank you for
So,
watching and have a
see you
great
guys.
day.